Let me guess, you're running short on gold, silver, and Tobaga ingots to fully ascend your entire build. What if I told you there are 3 locations that you can actually repeatedly farm these over and over again, roughly about every 6 to 7 hours, that most players don't even know they exist? Alrighty, first up, we've got farming silver here, because silver is very crucial for you guys to upgrade your jewelry items like your rings or your amulets, either for your building or for things like the resource ring, if you will, to max it out to get its maximum benefits. With that being said, we're actually able to do this from the first biome. You're looking for a specific point of interest called the undead infested shipwrecks. You have the right one when it says unique chest looted, something 0 out of 5 or 5 out of 5, depending if you've already discovered it. And right under that, you'll see where it says resources gathered in this area. It'll have an image of a silver ingot. Now, as I mentioned, every world is completely different, so your island might not look like this, and it's not going to be placed in the exact same area on the map where mine is at in this video. So again, match the point of interest. Once you do discover it, I would highly recommend putting down a fast traveling bell here so you can constantly come back whenever you need to farm these up. Alrighty, so navigating the point of interest here, what you're looking for are not the unique chests. You're actually looking for these glowing barrels. You'll find these up on top of some of the wrecked ships. You'll find them sometimes underneath the wrecked ships, behind the wrecked ships, just basically in this entire area for the point of interest, you'll find a bunch of them. So all you got to do is walk up to them, press the button to loot them, and then you will see it gives you a handsome amount of silver ingots. And as far as the amount of silver ingots, you can get roughly around 40 to 50 ingots. It kind of just depends on, the drop rate and what you get lucky with. Sometimes I might have had some extra in my inventory when I did this, but again, nevertheless, you could expect around 40 silver ingots from doing this run, and it does reset roughly every 6 to 7 real life hours, and it's really nice because you can just continue to come back and refarm this. With all these points of interest, I would highly recommend that you place a fast traveling bell on the island, because that'll make it easier for you to come back here to continue to farm them when you need that specific ingot. And on top of that here, it's also worth noting to place down a tent right outside of the point of interest, so then that way you don't have to run all the way across the island to, again, continue your farming or to collect your death box. Alrighty, now diving into farming gold. This one's a little bit trickier to see because they are in smaller vases, not in big giant barrels, and they're not in a open beach, setting. They're much more condensed inside of this ruined area with tons of enemies. All right, it's in the second biome as well, so you have to be in the foothills in order for you to discover this point of interest. The point of interest is called Blackbeard Ruins Excavation Site. Again, it's going to show you a unique chest count, 0 out of 3 or 3 out of 3, and you can also see for the resources gathered here a gold ingot image. That's how you know this is going to be the right point of interest. And when it comes to farming these gold ingots, the actual way to do this is you're going to be looking for these vases. You can see the vases right here on the screen, and every one of these that you collect will give you gold ingots. These are going to be hidden throughout the entire encampment, and it can be kind of hard to spot these vases at a quick glance just because they do kind of blend in with a lot of the other decorations and, setting items that they have here at these individual locations all the way around the ruins. But nevertheless here, make your way through each individual one all the way around, even down into the center. Complete the objective if you haven't done so already, and you will net yourself a handsome amount of gold ingots. It's also worth noting that when you come back to this location to farm it in the future, like I said, roughly every 6 to 7 hours you can come back to the location and all of these items should be respawned for you to collect again. When you do come back, you can actually do this without killing the enemies multiple times. You just have to kind of bob and weave, really, buff up, make sure that you're prepared to take a couple of hits here and there, and then your whole goal is just to quickly run around and collect as many of these as you possibly can. You might not collect all of them every single run that you come back, but you can still get a decent amount by coming back here, quickly running through, not focusing on killing any enemies, and then rinse and repeat the process. Now, let's talk about Tobaga ingot farming. Now, this one's a lot harder than the other 2 locations because it is in the third biome, the Cursed Swamp. Not only are these enemies typically max level at level 15, these plague thralls, whether they're going to be the standard ones or the hunters that will hit you from afar like a sniper, or even the plagued crocodiles, you name it, all of them hit like a truck, and all of these guys will swarm you in packs at this location. The specific location you're looking for is Tainted Ruins of an Ancient Temple. It will show 0 out of 6 unique chests, or 6 out of 6 if you've completed it, and it will have a Tobaga ingot image down below in the gatherable resources from this location. Again, your island might look differently, so just make sure that you match the point of interest. Another layer of complexity here to this location is that it is actually in a corrupted zone, so you can see this purple stuff that kind of goes around your screen, and there'll also be a purple bar in the center right on top of your character. There's There's an important thing to note here. If this corruption bar does fully max out and goes all the way across, you will instantly die. So you will drop, whatever's in your inventory down on the ground, and you'll have to respawn. So it's a good idea here, right outside the corruption zone of this point of interest, not across the island, just right outside the zone, to place down a tent. This will be very helpful if you do happen to die. You don't have to spawn on the edge at a, fast travel point and then run all the way across the island to get to the point of interest. At least on my island, it's dead center, so it would take you a considerable amount of time. Not only that, you have to fight other, random enemies on the island that can be challenging depending on your level. Secondly, it's important to note that you are going to have to periodically come out of the corrupted zone and then let your corruption tick back down, like your reset, basically reset your meter here, so then that way you don't die instantly. And as far as the amount of Tobaga ingots that I get from this run, it's typically roughly 30 to 40. I think my standard has been right around 38. It kind of just depends on, again, what I'm paying, how much I'm paying attention, how quickly I'm running through. Am I trying to kill everything and do a completion on the entire area or not? But again, 38 Tobaga ingots is absolutely insane. It makes a huge difference when it comes to ascending and upgrading your gear to complete your entire build. Now, honestly, here, when it comes to farming these things, is it fun to do? Probably not, but at the same time, this is literally the only way to repeatedly farm these 3 ingots. You do get a handful of these from completing different missions or farming different points of interest in these zones or regions, but these 3 here will just naturally respawn every 6 to 7 hours, making it literally the best way to farm these 3 materials. And now, with that being said, if you guys enjoy tips or tricks like this for Windrose, be sure to subscribe here on the channel, as I do push out content weekly here for this game. And be sure to check out this video you see here on the screen, where I give you guys the best tips for surviving every ship boarding battle and rack up tons of piastre.